I'm starting to realize when I get something in my brain, I'll sit there and think about it for a while, and I always end up doing it. Kind of like the paint job on the STI, you know? It's like, I had the idea there, and then I thought about it, and then I did it. I got the idea to respray the bay on the STI, and then I kind of went back and forth, and then I realized I'm gonna sit here and think about it for the next week, or we can just go do it. So we're just gonna go do it real quick. Let's pull the motor real quick. Honestly, I'm really excited to pull a Subaru motor. It's been a minute. I don't know if I've ever pulled it on the lift. Not that it really changes much because it comes out the top, but still, it's gonna make life a little bit easier. The fastest I've ever pulled a Subaru motor from running to out of the car was like 45 minutes. That was on an NA car. I think it's a Subaru Outback. It's obviously gonna take a little bit longer on a turbo car, but still, pulling a Subaru motor versus a Evo motor, it's a little bit easier. So that is what we got going on today. We are pulling the motor on our hatch, which is kind of funny because we're not even done with the body yet. We still need to remake the front bumper pieces. We still need to respray the rear bumper. We still have to fix a few things up, do a full cut and buff on the car, get out all the runs, pull out some orange peel. I'm hoping we can get the full motor pulled today. I'm guessing we can. Earlier today was yesterday's video when we were working on Bobby's car, and then I had to go run a bunch of errands. So I feel like I'm getting a pretty late start. So we got a couple hours, so we should be all right. Let's pull out the two beautiful Evos and let's see if we can make the Subaru just a little bit faster. I'm not sure how fast we're gonna go or how much power we're gonna push, but it's gonna be quite a bit more than what it makes right now. There's nothing really wrong with this car, engine bay, engine wise. I know it does have a coolant leak coming from the radiator drain plug, which it might just be loose, but I don't really see any leaks that we need to take care of. I do already have a pretty thick turbo sitting here at the shop that we are going to install while the motor's out. Does it already have a up pipe on it? It's got some sort of up pipe on it, so we're good there. I'm not gonna do, this isn't gonna be a Bobby Wallace STI rotated turbo kit, insane $10,000+ engine build. This is gonna be a little bit, I wouldn't say cheaper, but definitely much more in budget because Bobby's car was so expensive to build. Not to mention her whole closed deck built head motor that we're building outside the car. That's an additional, like, I don't know, 5K, 6K that we're into it. So we are gonna be collaborating with Mr. Baderbilt. He's gonna be tuning this car. He's helped out with picking out parts for this car, and it's gonna be a fun little ripper. I'm not exactly sure if we're gonna go E85 or just stay on pump gas, or we could just do flex fuel. Not exactly sure the plan there. We do have a really nice fuel system, turbo, exhaust, intercooler, blah, blah, blah. List goes on and on and on. It's gonna be a really, really sick setup. And not to mention, Bader has been making the most insane power on stock motor STIs recently. So I'm excited to see what he can make out of this thing with the setup that we're gonna have. I'll discuss what we're doing engine-wise later on, but for now, let's just start tearing into this thing. I wanna get the motor out as fast as possible. I am gonna be very, very careful to make sure we don't mess up any stuff we just resprayed. So I'll probably, I'm of course gonna pull off the front bumper, probably pull off the front fenders, wide body fenders. I might pop the hood back off. It kind of sucks we just installed all that, but to scratch one of those panels would be so painful right now, and I definitely don't want to do that. While we're under here and the car's up in the air already, let's go drain out the oil. We're gonna pop out the coolant or the antifreeze, and that should be a pretty good start. All right, we got all the fluids drained out of this thing, just the engine and radiator. Let's get this thing on the ground and get all these panels pulled off that we need to save. No need to pull the hood. I'll just leave her on. Probably a little bit safer on the car versus floating around the shop anyway. All right, my friends, let's go ahead and start tearing some stuff apart. Airbox, whatever intercooler this is, definitely not 08 plus STI, 0205 WRX. I could be mistaken. Battery's gotta come out. We got some wiring. If you are used to doing Evos and you go ahead and jump into a Subaru, you will be so blown away at how easy wiring is on this thing. To pull the motor, we have alternator to unplug, same harness as the AC compressor. Sometimes there's an air pump, but everyone deletes them because they're pointless. And then over here we have one giant harness for the whole engine. And that's pretty much it. Starter, of course, O2 sensors. Other than that, not much. A little bit of oil inside that turb ski. Actually kind of a lot. It's a Subaru thing. Evo boys wouldn't understand. I'm gonna pop up front here. We have AC compressor, alternator, power steering. All that's gonna come off, AC and power steering. I'm probably gonna leave with the car just to make life a little bit easier. Actually, AC I'll leave with the car, power steering I'll pull off. Power steering is really easy to bleed. AC, not very fun. Also, is this supposed to spin? She don't spin very well. Next up is going to be the radiator. We got to pull off these very beautiful brackets, sponsored by ziptie.com. Nice tight bolt as well. Yeah, we could probably just cut those. Radiator hose, unplug the fans, radiator comes out. So all we really have left up top is the turbo to downpipe. So the turbo is going to come off with the engine. We're going to leave that bolted on to the uppipe. So the exhaust manifold, uppipe, turbo, that's all coming off when we pull the motor. So turbo to downpipe, there's 5 bolts there. We have this pitch stop, slave cylinder, the starter, that wiring plug-in, a few bell housing bolts. There is a pin that goes through the clutch fork we're gonna have to pull out and then get this thing up in the air, pull the downpipe completely. We have a front O2 sensor we gotta disconnect, and then bell housing underneath, and this thing should be ready to pull out. I just made myself a little Allen wrench. Let me explain what's going on here. That cap you guys see right there, you need to get that cap off, then the pin that goes through the clutch fork slides out. Problem is, I did not have a 14mm Allen wrench to get that cap off. So I took a bolt with a 14mm head and I welded a nut on the opposite end.